Hello everyone, welcome to SIUK India webinar. Thank you for joining us today. We are now live with University of Brighton. Today we have Anushri with us who will let us know more about this special webinar session. Please feel free to post all the questions in the chat box on the right. We will answer all the questions after the presentation during the Q&A session. So let's start. Over to you, Anushri.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon and good evening for joining us today at the University of Brighton's webinar. My name is Anushri and I handle the recruitment for the university in India, and I'm here to support you with any questions that you might have about your course that you're interested in, about the scholarships that we offer, our entry requirements, and placement opportunities available at the University of Brighton. We also have Professor Dan Bennett with us, who will be talking to you more about business management related programs, specifically for students who are interested in our UG courses. We also have Kathy, who handles marketing for the university, and we have Shahad, who's a student currently at the university, who will be happy to answer any questions that you might have related to student experience, any course related questions or accommodations. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to share my screen with you and start the presentation. I'll walk you through and explain to you about the university. If you have any questions, put it in the chat box and we will get to those after this presentation is done. And during the presentation, I'll just keep my video off to ensure quality with regards to audio as well as the presentation. So thank you once again for joining us, and I'll just share my screen with you now. Hi, Deepika, can you just let me know if this is visible?
Yes, it is visible. Please move it to the screen. Yes.
Yeah, just 1 second. Right. So welcome once again to the University of Brighton's webinar session. And this is one of our wonderful pictures of the University of the city of Brighton at night. This is the famous Brighton Pier, and I'm sure if you visit the UK or even come to Brighton, you will definitely have an opportunity to come and enjoy this wonderful view, as well as enjoy some amazing rides at the pier. So to begin with, let me introduce you and tell you who we are. We are a university based on the southern coast of UK with a population of over 18,000 students studying undergraduate as well as postgraduate courses at the university. Our staff size is of over 2,400, and we offer more than 500 programs. So any student looking to join a course in the UK will definitely have at least one option available at Brighton. We also have a network of over 180,000 alumni across the globe. So one of the largest universities, as I mentioned. This is where we started off as an institution. This is known as the Royal Pavilion, and we trace our roots as an institution back to this wonderful building that you see here. So as I mentioned, we started off as an art and design program back in the 1850s, that's 1859, when we started off with the Brighton School of Art. Since then, we've had a number of accomplishments as an institution. So we started our Chelsea School back in 1898. That later became the East Sussex College of Higher Education. In 1960s, we became the Brighton Technical College and had our campus at Farmer, opening later in the decade. Then in 1970, we became the Brighton Polytechnique, which offered courses in art and technology, which collaborated the School of Art as well as the Technical College. And we later joined with the East Sussex College in Brighton Teacher Training College. In 1992, finally, we received our university status and we became the University of Brighton. And this year we celebrate our 30-year anniversary in 2022. So also to add, in 2003, we had an additional school joining us, which is now known as the Brighton and Sussex Medical School. And we have most of our medical programs run over here, which is based in the Farmer campus. So logistically, we are placed on the southern coast of UK. Just 1 second. Yeah, we're placed on the southern coast of UK, roughly 50 minutes away from London, and we are a multi-campus university that has 3 campuses in Brighton and 1 campus in Eastbourne. We are roughly 50 minutes away from the London Heathrow Airport and roughly 30 minutes away from the Gatwick Airport. When you're traveling from India to the UK, you will generally land at the Heathrow Airport and will have to take a train from there to come to Brighton, or you can also travel by National Express. Where are we now? So we have our employability rate is at 91%, one of the highest rates in the UK, which suggests that most of the students who graduate from the university either go on to do a higher degree in the same institution or to another institution, are enrolled in PhD or research-oriented programs, or have found a job closely related to their educational field. We are ranked in the top 50 universities for graduate outcomes. We are placed number 80th in the league table for 2022. As a university, we are a member of University Alliance Network, and we are TEF Silver University. So one of the most quality education providing university, and that is focusing more on employability and research. We are also in the top 15 for graduate outcomes in London and the Southeast area, and ranked in the top 30 globally healthy student mixed universities. What this rank essentially means is that as a university, we are well equipped to support students from multiple nationalities and to make sure that they feel welcome when they join us at Brighton. Our areas of excellence, so some of the programs that are ranked in the top 20 in the UK are listed here. I will just display it over here for a quick view for all of you. So anybody joining us for programs or wanting to go to the UK for programs related to civil engineering, for example, or art and design, health professions, medicine, economics, education, sports-related programs, physiotherapy. We are one of the top universities that provide these programs. So it is highly recommended that I would highly recommend you to apply to the University of Brighton. Our Brighton Student Skills Hub is accredited among the top 2% of centers worldwide. So we provide quality assistance when it comes to finding job and moving on from academia to the work environment. To tell you a bit about our alumni success, so some of our notable alumni have been listed here. So they range from the creative director at Lego Denmark to the designer for the 2012 Olympic medals. One of our alumni is a Sunday Times #1 best-selling author. And we also have somebody who's a product designer at Facebook, head of logistics at Google, as well as a technical data designer at Boeing. So some of our prominent alumni have been listed down over here for you, and we hope to see your names added to this list in the future as well. As I mentioned, we are a university that focuses on research as well as employability. To talk a little bit more about employability, here are some of the points for that. So as a university, we have our own careers and employability center, and that supports you with giving you career advice, mentoring you, supporting you with your volunteering opportunities, and allows you to do some research for, if you wanted to be an entrepreneur and start your own business, as well as networking opportunities to meet new employers, to meet future prospective employers for you. Either these employers might be somebody that you work with during your internship or as a placement, or even after you've completed your graduation at the university. Some of the points that I'd also like to mention over here include that most of our courses that are available at the undergraduate level, as well as all of the courses that are available in the business school, now offer a placement year, so a work-related year where you can either do a 3-year full-time program or a 4-year course with a placement option. Some of these placements are paid placements. Some of them are probably negotiable, but I'm sure Professor Dan Bennett would be able to assist you with those queries later on in the session. All of our postgraduate programs in the business school now come with a placement year opportunity. So we, as I mentioned, we now offer either 1-year full-time or a 2-year course with a placement option. And it's something that I would highly recommend to all international students, because a placement year allows you to have the opportunity to network and allows you to have an opportunity in a foreign environment in a British culture so that it is easier for you to understand the way the people work outside of India and gives you a more international experience, a global experience towards work culture. It also would assist you if you wanted to go through the GIR route and add the 2 years additional to your visa and stay back in the UK to search for jobs. Because if you have some sort of experience working in a UK environment, it becomes more your portfolio basically becomes more approachable and employable for people who are looking for new graduates to join their company. We also focus on enhancing our international employability rate, and this particular team will ideally assist you in making your CV, your cover letter. They'll also be hosting job fairs on campus twice a year for you to meet people from the profession and understand their portfolios and the job roles that they have to offer to you. And they'll assist you in any soft skills that you might need in order to develop your overall portfolio when you go for interviews. And later on, they will also help you schedule and manage your interviews so that you have something lined up well in advance before your deadline. Also, all of our courses are accredited or recognized by the professional organizations, and I'll show you a chart of that later on in the presentation. So as I mentioned, this is a chart of all the governing bodies that have recognized our courses at Brighton. So as you can see, programs such as podiatry, nursing, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, engineering, marketing, management are all recognized by their own governing bodies. And what this essentially means is that the courses that we offer at Brighton are up to date and are very relevant to what people would be using when they are working in a working environment. So it shows that you have a good amount of transferable skills, and it also gives you an opportunity to be a member of a governing body. Some of our placement opportunities in the past included companies such as Disney, Adobe, IEM, Nike, Johnson & Johnson. We have a longer list available on the university website. And as I mentioned, our careers team would be happy to assist you in any queries that you might have in order to get your placement secured for the placement year. While you're studying in the UK, your visa would allow you to work for 20 hours during term time and 40 hours during holidays. So if you are looking for part-time opportunities, some of the options available on campus include working as a student ambassador, student recruitment ambassador. You can chat with Shahad towards the later half of the session to understand what her job roles are, and how to apply for this job and how she helps us out at the international team. You can also work in our student union, shops, cafes, and bars across different campuses that are there. Off-campus opportunities include working in festivals and pop-up events. As Brighton is one of the most tourist-friendly destination in the UK, you'll notice that we have a number of festivals and pop-up shops opening up throughout the year. So it's a great opportunity for students who are looking to do part-time in the UK. Other opportunities include working at high street chains, retail shops, cafes, bars, clubs, etc. So all of these opportunities, we would be happy to assist you, but it's always a good idea to research before you land in the UK when you have the time. Another point that I mentioned earlier on in the presentation was that we are a very research-oriented university, and that is why most of the research that we conduct at the university, be it at the UG or the PG level, is directly linked to the market, and we ensure students develop the transferable skills needed to join a company after they've completed their graduation, or to become employable after they've completed their graduation. Some of our research initiatives in the past have included how to reduce emission and pollution in the environment, how to improve the health, and including research into neglected tropical diseases, low-cost sanitation solutions for users in disaster zones, development of sustainable construction practices, building from waste material, creating a living lab for ecological and architectural design, to capture and draw attention to climate change through the fine art and advanced inclusive art practice with marginalized groups, as well as to promote peace in conflict-torn communities through sport interventions and tackle social injustice. So we do a lot of research that is very well appreciated in the community, as well as something that would help students become more employable after they've completed their graduation. One of the most important topics for international students is scholarships. And as a university, we do recognize that and have made available scholarships worth a maximum of £2,500 and a minimum of £1,000. These are essay-based scholarships that need to be applied for after you've received your offer letter. So the first step to get a scholarship is to receive an offer from the university. I would therefore suggest that you submit your application at the earliest, as our deadline for the first round of scholarship applications is the 28th of March. Just to summarize, deadline for first round is 28th March. Awards available are worth 2,500 and £1,000. Criteria is that you have an offer to apply for this particular scholarship, and yes, it's an essay-based scholarship. So tell us more about yourself and why you deserve the scholarship. The form for the scholarship is available on the university website. So I would now like to talk to you about the university in itself and introduce to you some of the campuses where you'd be studying perhaps in the next couple of years or in the next year. The first campus that I'd like to talk to you about is the City campus, where we have roughly 2,500 students studying here in courses related to fine art, fashion, humanities, and film and screen studies, to name a few. The second campus is the Molescombe campus, which has roughly 7,500 students studying here. And this particular campus has a new addition to it, which is known as the Big Build. This particular project, the campus project, opened up in September 2021 and is the most recent campus that we've built for our university. We've spent roughly £170 million towards the development of this campus, and it has new cafes, accommodations, shops, and social spaces, and has the new academic building for our School of Business and Law. And it also houses 80% of the students, international students who study here. The programs that are taught at the Molescombe campus include architecture, computer science, pharmacy, media, engineering, environmental sciences. The business and law school runs from here, as well as courses related to tourism and event management. Here are some of the pictures from the Big Build campus that has recently opened up. The third campus is the Farmer campus, which has roughly 7,000 students studying here in courses related to education, humanities, as well as applied social sciences. Our Brighton and Sussex Medical School runs from this campus as well. And the final campus that we have is the Eastbourne campus. We have courses running in sport, journalism, physiotherapy, and podiatry running from this particular campus. Students who are studying programs related to sport would generally have to travel to the Farmer campus, and we have our own university shuttle service that runs on an hourly basis. So you can time yourself and you can travel to the Farmer campus to use the grounds and fitness facilities needed for your program. Now to talk to you about traveling within Brighton. So you have access of 3 modes of transport, which is trains, buses, as well as cycling. So if you were to take a train, this is the time schedule that it would take for you to travel from Brighton to Molescombe, which is roughly 6 minutes. From Brighton to Farmer is 10 minutes, and from Eastbourne to Brighton is 40. From Eastbourne to Farmer is 30 minutes. If you were to take a bus, the Brighton to Molescombe distance would be 20 minutes, and Brighton to Farmer would be 30 minutes. It's essentially better if you were to travel by train if you're coming from Eastbourne to the Farmer, to the city-based campuses in Brighton. And if you were to use a cycle, it would take you 17 minutes to travel from Brighton to Molescombe and roughly 24 minutes to travel from Brighton to Farmer. In addition, also, I had to mention that we have all of our accommodations placed in such a way that they are in close proximity to the particular campus that you'd be studying at. So if you're studying at the city campus, which is the Grand Parade campus, the closest accommodation available to you would be the Phoenix Brewery. For Mulscombe campus, it would be Mulscombe Place as well as Mithras Halls and Student Village. For students studying at the Farmer campus, you would have access to the Wali Park as well as the Paddock Fields and Great Wilkins accommodations. Also, just for students to know, this is the American Express Community Stadium where you would have a chance to go and see matches. In addition to all the halls of residences that we provide for students on campus, the university also assists in off-campus accommodations. So if you were to wanted to stay in private accommodations or wanted to stay in uni-lets and uni homes, which are private university-owned accommodations, so houses and flats given to rent to student managed by the university. We do guaranteed accommodations provided you apply for it before the 30th of June. And again, you would have to be an offer holder to apply for accommodations at the university. Our on-campus activities include 12 cafes and bars across the Brighton and Eastbourne campus, student-led societies, well-being activities, arts exhibitions, student union shops, as well as gym facilities. We have over 100 student societies and over 60 sports clubs available on both of our campuses, across both of our campuses, actually. As I mentioned, these are some of the societies that you could become a part of. For students who would like to take a quick screenshot, they can do this right now, or a link for this is available on the university website as well. We also run a number of sports clubs that are run by the students for the students. There might be a small charge, nominal charge that you would have to pay at the time of joining for both if you were joining a club or a union, and that is generally the cost is generally carried forward towards any activities they might have planned for you throughout the year, such as excursions or some get-togethers for meeting up with co-students and stuff. We have the Brighton Panthers that signed a 4-year contract with Nike in 2020, and we have many games at different levels for competing weekly that you could go and either be a part of or watch from the campus in the arena. We also offer a number of support to the students who are studying at Brighton, which include but is not limited to, obviously, residential life, Brighton Students Union. We have the Focus Advice and Support Group. We have the Disability Support Group, on-campus doctors, a disclosure response team, counseling, faith and spirituality team, student-to-student support, and self-help ebooks. So we have everything that we can to offer you, as long as you are happy to come and let us know what your problems are. Our off-campus activities include Brighton Festival, one of the largest art festival in England, the Great Escape Festival, one of the largest new music festival in Europe, live music events, festivals, and pop-up events throughout the year, including the Winter Market and the Ice Rink. We have marathons and bike rides, as well as weekly nightclubs. As a city, we are known as we are ranked in the top 10 student cities because obviously the location and the kind of life that we have to offer to students. We are leading the way in arts, creative technology, as well as the environment. And we are ranked in the top 10 cities with the most brilliant beaches by Lonely Planet. And this is an award alongside given to us alongside cities like Sydney as well as Rio. Around 14% of people living in the city are students, and the digital sector is worth £1 billion per year to the local economy. These are some of the activities that you can do when you are in the city of Brighton, some of the clubs and events companies in the city of Brighton. And here are some of the pictures from the city of Brighton. Now to tell you a little bit about the city of Eastbourne. It is the sunniest place in the UK, and it's a thriving town surrounded by the countryside. It has a very welcoming and friendly community. and a third of the people living in Eastbourne are under 30. By 2023, the university is planning to move most of its courses that are at Eastbourne to the Brighton campuses and have all of the campus within Brighton itself. And that is something that we are working towards and hoping to achieve by 2023. We also have our international college that is based in the Molescombe campus, which is known as UBIC, the University of Brighton International College. So for students who do not meet our entry requirements, they can join us for a foundation program at UBIC and then join the university for the undergraduate courses. Alternatively, they can also join us for a pre-master's program at UBIC and then join the university for a master's course as well. We also offer pre-sessional programs to students who would need additional support in the English language, and the Center for Academic English Language Development, which sits in the Farmer campus, is where you would have to go for these courses. We offer term time pre-sessional English, summer pre-sessional English, as well as extended masters to students. These programs are now going to be run offline. So you would have to be on campus for these courses. So do get in touch with us if you need additional support for English well in advance so that you can apply for CAS and your visas accordingly. Now, as we come to the end of the presentation, I'd just like to give you a quick overview about the University of Brighton once again. We are a coastal university with a city lifestyle. Our focus is on enhancing international employability. We are a hands-on learning underpinned by work-related opportunities for undergraduate courses, as well as for some of our postgraduate courses. We have festivals running throughout the year and therefore a lot of opportunities for part-time jobs available to students. And we are extremely accessible to London as well as international airports, ferries to the Europe, as well as trains to Paris. The accessibility to London ensures that students who are looking for jobs after they have completed their graduation have a great chance to explore the market by joining companies that are based in Brighton as well as in London. And with that, I have come to the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, you can drop them at internationaloffice@brighton.ac.uk. I will give you a few moments to note down the email address, and then Deepika can open the session for Q&A.
Thank you so much, Anushri, for such a knowledgeable presentation. We are now moving towards the Q&A session. The first question the student is asking, for international students, is there any help? Just one second. Yeah. Is there any help to find jobs in the UK after graduation or during the studies? Basically, they're asking about part-time jobs and placement.
Yeah, so we have at the university, we have an employability office and quite a big kind of careers centre. So we advertise kind of part-time jobs when they're studying, but that's normally something students will find out a little bit more about themselves. But we do a lot of advertising, and we have a lot of employers who will come in and sort of kind of present or kind of advertise sort of part-time posts. The key focus for us is on the graduate side of things. And I think one of the really nice things is as well as kind of helping our students when they're with us thinking about their graduate jobs, that service is still available to you as an alumni for about, Kathy or Anushri might be able to correct me, for about, I think 3 or 4 years after you graduated, you can still access the university's kind of careers and employability services. So again, there's a lot of adverts, there's a lot of support with CVs, there's a lot of focus on employability and helping people transition into the workplace. So we run summer workshops, there's drop-in sessions, there's kind of conferences. And Kathy's just corrected me, it's for life. So I thought most of my students are normally doing it for 3 or 4 years after they graduated, but it's there for life. So even if you're 60 and thinking about a career change and you've graduated at the age of 20, you can still come back and get some advice from the career service. So we offer that as a support for life there. So certainly that's a key focus for us.
Thank you, Dan. The next question. Thank you for taking time and giving us this presentation. My question for you is that, do you have graduate students with family accommodation? Is there any support provided for?
We do provide support for students who are coming with their family. They would have an option to stay off campus, not on campus. And if we are not able to find an accommodation for them, we can certainly assist them with suggestions.
Thank you, Anushri. The next question. Who are the top 5 employers after completing Masters in Business?
Cool. That's a good question. One of the great things actually about the business courses is that there's so much, and one of the key focuses for us is on this idea about transferability. So I don't think we have a kind of a top 5 employer. We have students who go into so many different roles. Some go and start up their own businesses. Some are working with some of kind of the big 4, big 5 consultancy firms, KPMG, PwC. We've got people who I know kind of work with small independent agencies, startups. They're both based in the UK, they're based overseas. I don't think it's a case of there is actually a top 5. I was talking to a student about 3 or 4 months ago with kind of Grant Thornton. So he's at kind of a consulting firm. Students off the law program go and work with different law firms. Students off the marketing programs go and work at marketing agencies or are working in marketing departments at a range of different companies. We've got big employers like American Express in the area. I know there's quite a few graduates who go towards American Express. Gatwick and London are not that far away, so certainly there's kind of a lot of graduates centered around in London. You've got big employers, Gatwick Airport themselves, Nestle have their headquarters at Gatwick. So I don't think it's a case that we have the top 5. I think one of the great things that the business courses do is give students choice and freedom and flexibility. So they do generally tend to spread themselves in a number of kind of different areas and kind of look at how their careers evolve over a period of time. I think one of the things we always say to students, it's not always about what you do when you first graduate. It's about what you're doing 3 or 4, 5, 10, maybe 15 years down the line. So we see graduates kind of going into a role very quickly when they graduate, but then there's this idea about career velocity. So they're there for a year, 2 years, they then move on to something else, 2 years, move on to something else, and they kind of keep moving on and up. At the same time, I do have one graduate who was working with TUI, I think went into a role at TUI and stayed there for about 15 years. So, it's IBM, Sony, Disney, Nestle, Microsoft. We've got graduates working at Google, KPMG, PwC, Grant Thornton, in a whole host of different roles in a whole host of different places. So I don't think it's a case of who are the top 5. It's not like there's one standard path. We have students on a number of different routes, and quite a lot who, I say, go in and start up their own businesses. And again, a key focus for the university and certainly in the business school is about student entrepreneurship. So we actually have a hub, Be Purple, which is all about helping and fostering student entrepreneurship. And we have some quite high profile graduates now who have kind of gone on to set up their own businesses and have done really, really well with that.
Thanks, Dan. The next question. Do you offer an MBA program without work experience? Can I study MBA after completing a marketing course?
So normally for our MBAs, we would require, at MBA level, we would require 3 years worth of work experience, ideally kind of in a more sort of management orientated role. So that is one of our key requirements with the MBA. So we do need, because of the nature of the course and the applied nature of management and executive training, we would need to see some, I say, at least 2, preferably 3 years worth of work experience for that.
The student could alternatively apply for an MSc management or an MSc marketing related program. We do have a number of specializations available in there.
Yeah. And we have students who sort of do the MSCs in management and then sort of kind of work for a year, year and a half, apply that knowledge, because the MBA with that level of kind of executive knowledge, and particularly around strategy and leadership and change, it's quite difficult to apply some of those concepts if you don't have experience of leadership and strategy. So we found before that students who don't quite have that experience really struggle with how they kind of apply themselves in terms of themselves as leaders, themselves as strategists, themselves kind of thinking about how organizations evolve in the future. So it really is, you know, the applied learning side becomes really quite key and quite critical at that point, which is why we're quite stringent about that one.
Thanks, Dane. The next question: what MBAs you have under, like, what all MBAs you have in the university? Yeah, is there any standard MBA, or do you have any professional MBA, like in a particular field?
So we have some professional ones. So we've got MBA General Management, we've got MBA in Public Service Management, we have an MBA in Leadership, and then there's also an MBA apprenticeship route. So there is actually an MBA which some students can do part-time while they're working full-time. So it's kind of linked to kind of their specific kind of employability at that point. We did have a couple of others, but the take-up wasn't particularly high. So things like kind of senior leadership apprenticeship, again, which links into the MBA, we have some of that. But generally, we kind of look at the general MBA, sort of general management. Public service is a huge thing for us. So we have a lot of people from things like the NHS, the police, government bodies. And then I say the actual kind of MBA in leadership as well is kind of quite a popular one too.
Thanks, Dane. The next question: can you please tell more about IELTS score, admission process, and scholarships?
Right. So our entry requirements would be a minimum 65% for our undergraduate courses, most of our undergraduate courses. For students applying for postgraduate courses, most of them need a minimum of 55% in your bachelor's degree. The IELTS score needed for the undergraduate programs is a 6-pointer overall with no band less than 5.5. And for postgraduate students, it's a 6.5 overall with no band less than 5.5. Again, certain programs might require a higher belt on the IELTS, but I would suggest students to check that because it's course specific. These are for the entry requirements for the university and the for applying to the university. For criteria for applying for scholarships, it's generally that you need an offer from the university and then you need to fill out a scholarship essay. The link for the scholarship application is available on the university website. Can I just put it in the chat box? Would students be able to see that?
Yes, I'll copy paste that in the live stream part.
All right, just 1 second and I'll just share the application link as well. All right.
Yeah. Can I ask the next question?
Yes, sure.
Okay. The next question is, what IELTS score is required for a computer science course?
6. That's if it's a bachelor's program, because that's the only course available for bachelor's. And I'm sorry, that's the program that's available only for the bachelor's level. So it's an overall score of 6 with no band less than 5.5.
Thanks, Anushri. The next question: I'm looking for an MSc User Experience Design course. Could you tell me the career prospects, exact job offers for the same after graduation at Brighton?
Sure. So the user experience program is also a course we offer with a placement opportunity. So students can either do the 1-year full-time route or the 2 years with the placement route. And you can work as a web designer, understanding interfaces as well as understanding how to develop the website if you study this program. Obviously, more details if you're interested in chatting with the professor who teaches this program or with students who are studying this program at the university, you can always drop a message and we can chat via email and discuss more in detail.
Thanks, Anushri. The next question: what is the deadline for the September 2022 intake? And is it possible to apply for a scholarship for September start?
Application deadlines are tentatively for the end of June, and scholarship deadlines, as I mentioned, the first round is 28th of March. So you can apply and at least get an offer letter, and if it is in time, then you could also apply for the first round of scholarship, but there's likely to be 2 more rounds. So you are well within the timeline to apply for scholarship as well as to get an offer for the university.
Okay, thanks. The next question. Should we apply for scholarship separately or is it considered automatically when you apply via UCAS?
No, you would have to apply separately.
Thanks, Anushri. The next question. Hi, team. I am a chartered accountant with nearly 6 years of experience and looking forward to pursue MSc Finance and Accounting, seeking guidance and application requirement.
Dan, would you want to take this?
Yes, so application. So if you're looking at the MSc, we have the direct application. So you can fill that in through the forms on the website. With 6 years experience, that's great. I mean, we find we have a lot of students coming on the master's program who are post experience. And again, I think there's a huge amount of value to people who have got previous work experience when they come on a master's program, because it is about, again, that, like the MBA question and answer, it's about that application of knowledge. So we find that in the classroom, in the conversations, in the workshops that we do, your ability to kind of take the information being presented and kind of really put that into context and apply that is absolutely superb. So certainly on the application, I think it'd be good to outline what your experience is, and in particular as well, the kind of areas that you're interested in going to. So after 6 years of working, you're coming to do the MSc, give us some indication about what you want to do with that. Where do you see yourself taking that MSc and kind of developing yourself further? And I think that gives the team on that particular course a really good insight. And so they have a nice understanding of what your career aims are. And then they can tailor some of the course and the content to those as you kind of go through it. So, starting to think about what it is you've done, but where you see the MSc helping you move forward is a nice thing to kind of put on the application. And that's certainly looked at very positively.
Thanks, Dan. The next question. How long is the pre-sessional English course? What is the tuition fee for the pre-sessional program?
The pre-sessional program the duration as well as the cost would depend on the score you get on IELTS. And I will just share a link for students who would like to see more details about this in the chat box. Just give me a couple of minutes, please.
Sure. Can I start with a new question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So the same student is asking, is UKVI IELTS required for pre-sessional program? Do students get a CAS letter for pre-sessional or main program?
UKVI IELTS is needed for understanding what level of English you speak and what is the level of support you would require in terms of duration of your pre-sessional course. Kathy, would you know if there are two CASs in this case? Like, would the student have to apply for two different CAS and if they have to do a pre-sessional?
I would recommend to email the visa team to confirm. I'll put the email in the chat.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. The next question. Is 91.6% graduate employment rate for PG students or UG students?
It's an overall employment rate. We don't bifurcate it according to courses or course levels.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next question. Could you please name the top 3 programs that Brighton is known for, especially amongst the international students?
It would actually depend on what kind of course they're looking for. Like if they were looking for top 3 courses in the business school, then I would be able to answer accordingly. So if they could be more specific on what kind of stream they're looking for, that would be great.
Yeah, maybe just to add to that, I mean, certainly, my role in the business school, we have a lot of international students in the business school. So probably about 35% of students in the business school are international. When you get to postgraduate level, probably about 60% are international students. So, and they're spread across business management, accounting and finance investment are quite popular with international students. Some of the business with routes, so we do things like business with marketing, business with HR, business with finance, so we find they're quite popular. International business at undergraduate level, the international business management again has a fairly high proportion of international students on it by the very nature of the international course that it is. Tourism again quite popular with international students. Marketing, so probably about 20% of the students on the marketing course maybe are international, but it's generally centered around things like kind of finance, investment, economics. They're the slightly bigger ones. We get quite a few international students on the law programs as well, so we're getting a little bit more interest over the last few years on the law programs with international students too. And then I know in the university things like kind of engineering, so there's the business school, which is generally very popular with international. I think engineering is popular with international students, and certainly from when I've been working with some other schools, computing. So engineering, computing, and business seem to be the kind of the more popular popular courses with, or the popular schools for international students. But again, we've got different countries, different courses appeal to students in different countries, which always sounds very interesting. The Norwegians used to really go for things like physiotherapy and art. Norwegians again used to be very interested in tourism. Students from China, Taiwan, tourism, events, business. Students from the Middle East generally towards engineering and computing, some coming into business. We get a few kind of coming through in art as well. So it's kind of a really interesting mix. We certainly have in the business school quite a healthy population of Indian students. And I know again in computing and engineering, there are quite a few. And I think there's a few as well in art and architecture as well. So there's a good kind of sort of Indian student population across a range of schools in the university.
Thanks, Dan. The next question. What percentage criteria is required for MS in aerospace engineering?
A 65 in their 12th standard.
Thanks, Anushri. The next question. What are the cutoffs required for undergraduate courses, and do students from India need to give IELTS?
Yes, so we would need a minimum 65% in your 12th standard, and generally we would require you to give the IELTS unless you studied in the ISC and CBSE board. Then we could look at IELTS waiver if you've gotten a 70 on 100 or an 80 on 120. So only these two board students can apply for IELTS waiver. Otherwise, it's generally preferred if students can give their IELTS.
Thanks, Anushri. The next question. Hi team, do an undergraduate course have an age limit?
Dan, would you want to take this?
Yeah, so normally undergraduates would normally kind of start average age 18, 19, all the way forward. I've had some students recently who have been into their 30s, 40s. I had a graduate student about, 10 years ago. He was about 64 when he came on the course. He'd worked in the oil industry all his life. He took early retirement at about 55, and within about 4 or 5 years discovered that he was bored. He didn't like gardening. He didn't like DIY. The more time that he and his wife spent at home together, the worse that was. So he came at about the age of 61, 62 to do an undergraduate degree. We've had students who have been into their 70s and 80s who have graduated because they've come back and done it as a hobby. So there is no upper age limit. It's education, it's learning, it's interest, and that happens at many different stages in your life. So in the business school, average age is probably about 19, 20, 21, but we do have students who are into their 30s and 40s on the course as well, which is great because they add a huge amount of value and depth. Somebody with that much experience behind them coming in and sort of thinking about the subjects and the knowledge based on their experience that they've got from their previous work is fantastic to have in the classroom. You can see all the sort of the 19-year-old undergraduates kind of look at them going, oh my God, you know so much. It's and we actually find historically that sort of the maturer students, the older students, as a rule, generally kind of apply themselves better and actually end up getting some very, very good degree marks. Because again, their ability to kind of think about, I've got one student at the moment, Nicole, who's on one of my courses, and she's just a couple of years younger than me. So she's about 43, which gives my age away quite beautifully there. And it's interesting because we're very similar in terms of our outlook, and she kind of, what some of the things I say, she kind of gets quite quickly because, we have that sort of age kind of commonality. But she came because she's been working for 20 years doing something, and what she wanted to do was figure out whether she's doing it right. So she's getting a huge amount of benefit from it. So no age limit.
Just to add to that, 1 second, Deepika, though we do not have an age limit, students do bear in mind as international students, you need to have no gap years when applying. And gap year is defined as a period of time of more than a year where you're not engaged in academic or work-related activities. So, yeah.
Thanks, Anushri. And then the next question is degrees like MIM available at Brighton University?
Yes, we do have master or MSc in international management. Yes, we do.
Thanks, Anushri. The next question is there any auto assisted scholarship that is provided by Brighton?
No.
Thank you. MS in aviation management is available in the university?
Not aviation, sorry, MS is not available. Sorry, just bachelor's program related to aerospace engineering is available.
Okay, the next question is there is available for IBM for part-time? I don't know what is it.
I'm not sure what the question means, but as international students, they can't do part-time programs. They would have to be enrolled in full-time courses only.
Okay. So the next question is, can we do teaching assistantship in Brighton as part of our part-time job?
Dan, do you know if teaching assistants are available?
I don't. So would this be teaching assistants at the university?
Yeah, I think it's more of an American concept.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, if you're doing a PhD, we quite often have PhD students who are doing some teaching. Undergraduate and master's students, no. So we have our own kind of recruitment pool. So it's very rare that we actually use our students for teaching assistants in the university. So PhD students, yes, but generally undergraduate and master's students, no.
Yeah, students, just to remind you, on-campus facilities for jobs would mostly be related to either student ambassador roles or working in student union or campus bars, cafes, and restaurants, not related to teaching assistants or research assistants. That's a US concept.
Thank you, Anushri. And then the next question. For students interested in pursuing sports alongside, when is it a good time to get in touch with the coaches?
As soon as you arrive. Yeah, so I'd say so at the start of term, there's a big freshers fair. There's a number of events held by the Students' Union. All the sports societies and the sports teams are there, telling people about what they do, recruiting new members, and just start chatting. And, they normally have trials and tryouts and kind of friendly games and matches within about the first week, 2 weeks of term starting. So as soon as you arrive, the opportunity to kind of get involved with the sports side straight away.
Thank you, Dane. The last and the next question. No, we have two more questions. Okay, so let me first say this. Okay, the next question is: would I need a Cambridge AS and a A-level in maths for undergraduate in computer science?
We're not sure exactly, but we would suggest that you apply and see. There's no subject level specification for applying to the bachelor's computer science program, but it's always advised that you make an application and let the admissions team decide. Let them review your portfolio essentially.
Thank you, Anushri. The next question. Could you please give some insight about university accommodation and about the cost of living as an international student?
All right. Shad, would you like to go ahead with your experience in the university accommodations?
Oh, yes, certainly. So basically, just to give a bit of a background, I am an eminent civil engineering student, international as well. So when I first came in, I enrolled to the foundation year, and they did offer me accommodation within the university. However, I rejected it because I prefer living by myself and in a private accommodation, so that it's just my personal preference. However, it's much cheaper to live on campus and to let the university help you, because it's way more stressful because you have to consider like bills, council taxes that you need to deal with, although you do not need to pay for as a student, and upon other things. And sometimes some landlords can be a bit hard to deal with. So renting with basically utilizing the university's facilities really can just help you have a smooth transmission in the end of the day. What else? And it's much cheaper, and right now we have new build as well, so it's quite modern and it's really nice to live in. So yeah, that's my opinion regarding accommodation. Was there anything else within that question?
No, I think it was like that, only the cost of living and the accommodation part.
Cost of living. Okay, so with cost of living, it really depends on who you are as a person. What are your hobbies and stuff like that. However, there is an average. I believe some individuals can live just for food, not transportation and all that, by like £300 minimum, I think. It depends on who you are as a person. If you cook more, it's cheaper. Like you need less money. If you eat out all the time and go out all the time and shop, of course, that's going to add up. So it really depends on your lifestyle. And if you, for instance, if you go to the gym, you would need a gym membership and all that. So it's very hard to give you just one answer. Yeah, but the more conservative you are with saving money and spending money, the less you need, basically.
Just to summarize, to budget yourself, you may need somewhere between £7,000 to £10,000 on a yearly basis, keeping in mind your rent, accommodations, as well as cost of living. 7,000 being your cheapest and 10,000 being your most expensive. So this would include the kind of accommodation you select, as well as the kind of lifestyle that you're used to, because you have a number of options even in grocery stores in the UK. So the cheapest one would be an Aldi, and the most expensive one could be a Waitrose. And budgeting yourself essentially would be most helpful when you're trying to do cost cutting.
I have covered all the questions from the chat box. Many thanks for answering all the questions so well. We are now moving towards the end of the seminar. I would request if you have anything else you would like to put forward for the audience who are watching us live right now.
I'd say a couple of things, really. Just one, thank you all very much indeed for coming and showing an interest. You have plenty of options ahead of you, and from my point of view as a program leader, education is a good thing to do. It's a good thing to get involved in, but remember, education continues. So, and I think one of the key focuses for us as a university, it's not just about what you do on the course or what you do straight after the course. We're starting to move towards a more forward-looking, futuristic kind of perspective. So, we're very keen on what we do with you when you're studying with us and how that actually supports you through a career which may well last 40, possibly 50 years. So, looking at some of the detail, looking at some of the courses, looking at some of the focus, the transferability, trying to project ahead. Things are changing very, very rapidly, and starting to think about how we prepare you for kind of, a long-term career, lifetime of career and learning is kind of quite an important focus for us. So if you're interested in some of the courses, have a look at the website, have a look at some of the detail, think about how that transfers across. There was a question earlier on about user experience. 2,000, 100,000 companies around the world, all desperate for people who have got some expertise in user experience. It's kind of, it's a really key area. It transcends from computing to marketing to sort of customer support, help desk. It's across a range of sectors. So, the transferability, I think, of what we do at Brighton is kind of quite important. And this idea that, again, you'll see it on our website, we have practical wisdom. So very about applied knowledge, about how you use that knowledge, about how you take that knowledge forward throughout your career is a really kind of key and important focus for us. So just a couple of things to kind of think about as you're making your choices, but certainly very nice to see you, and hopefully that you've all had a good day and have a very pleasant evening.
Just a quick thank you for everyone who's joined us today. Thank you, Professor Dan, for joining us, as well as Shad and Kathy, and thank you, SI UK, for hosting this event. It was really great to meet and speak to so many students, and I'm hopefully looking to answer your queries even in person once things start becoming more normal in India. Just to let you know, just to remind you, the deadline to apply for scholarship is the 28th of March, and please make sure you submitted your applications well in advance so that you receive your offer and then can move on to apply for scholarships. And if you have any questions, please make sure you get in touch with your SI UK counselor, who can then guide you through and also connect us as well.
Thank you so much for your kind words. To all the audience, if you have any further questions, please feel free to contact SI UK India offices. We'll be more than happy to help you. In the end, thank you so much for your valuable time today. Bye-bye. Take care.